Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Little. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. I see all of you are typing in some questions already. We actually have, or had, about 1,000 questions emailed in. I got to go through all of those, so that is exciting. I have loaded up some of the most common ones, and we'll be going through those, and if we have any time at the end, we'll also go through additional questions. For those who do not know, this is Fedor. Fedor is a young man. Somehow, though, he has over $32 million in live tournament cashes. That is a lot. It's a lot in a short period of time, so congrats to him on that. He is 5th on the all-time money list, and he founded Primed Group, which is something I am very interested in, which he'll be talking a little bit about today. And he claims he's retired from poker. Let's try to get him on the line. Let's see if he's here. Hello, Fedor. How are you?
Hi.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. Everyone is very, very excited, and we have a bunch of questions lined up for you. But first, tell us about Primed Mind and the Primed Group. What are you doing?
So I started working with Elliot. Elliot Rowe is his name. He's a mindset and hypnotherapy coach about almost 5 years ago. And I heard of him and I was like, okay, I was in a bad mindset at that point. So I was on my worst downswing in my career so far. You wouldn't believe it. And I started working with him in October, 2015, yeah, something like that. So after that, I think that's when my hottest run began. So not sure about the correlation, but Elliot has been a really good coach. And what he did for me was he created these MP3s for me. So before every final table, I was listening to a tailored MP3 from Elliot, and it really helped me zone in and focus on the game. And so we were thinking about, started talking to some good friends, and we were thinking about, okay, how can we bring this to more people? Because I made some MP3s for them with Elliot, and they loved it. And so we thought about how can we bring this to different areas. And that's how Prime Mind got founded. And basically how it works is he combines the different areas of hypnotherapy, coaching, meditation in a way where you really go deeper in your consciousness, and you can focus on one specific thing. So you can really zone in on the one thing that you are doing or want to focus on right now. And I feel it really unlocks potential on a variety of different tasks where you feel like, okay, I'm stuck or I don't really know how to approach this, and it helps you focus.
So I actually have a rather similar story with Elliot. It was probably 5 or 6 years ago at this point. He approached me saying, he's getting into the poker space with hypnotherapy, and I was a little bit skeptical at first, but I'm always happy to give anything new a try, and I listen to his MP3s every time before I play. How do you actually use Primed Mind?
So I do weekly sessions with Elliot, actually. So I only use it supportively, but he's basically my personal Prime Mind. And so how you use it is basically, I think the best tapes in my opinion are the start of the day, or generally just, whenever there's a situation where you feel like, oh, this feels tricky, or you don't really know how to go about it, or you feel emotional, or you just feel like you need, some downtime, or you can't sleep. Like all of these, I would say, the distress and situations where you're really in distress or you're distracted. I think that these are the best moments to use Prime Mind, and you literally just sit down 5 to 15 minutes and listen to Elliot's beautiful voice.
So I know the one that I particularly like is a tournament break maximizer, where it's only about 5 minutes long, but whenever you're playing, sometimes emotions get high, and it'll chill you out and make you go back to focusing on the things that matter. So for all of you here, we actually are going to be having a nice discount for Primed Mind, as well as an exclusive bonus, some of which is actually content from Elliot Rowe, who we're talking about. I'll be discussing that at the end of this webinar, though. But if you want to go check it out, go to pokercoaching.com/primedmind. So, Fedor, I asked the people to send in some questions. I got about 1,000 questions. We can't go through 1,000 today. So we're going to go through just some. So you said in an interview that you are always willing to learn new things in life. So what are you working hard on learning now that you're well retired from poker? So you claim.
So one thing I think throughout my life I'm really interested in is I love solving problems. So, I mean, as you can tell as a poker player, I guess that's a part of what made me successful. But I just love getting in new things. So I got in trading, I got in actually football strategy, supporting Paris Saint-Germain, and got in generally just consulting for people that are pretty successful in their area, and then thinking about, okay, where are areas that you can, push it even further and improve. An area I'm really interested in and improving right now is communication. So generally how speaking, so public speaking, just how can I become more concise and putting across what I want to say, because I think what I've experienced is it is really hard to put across your perspective into another person's mind, and I want to get better at that. So I'm working with a speakers coach together. I studied some Japanese, but didn't really make too much progress.
It's a different language than English or German.
It is a really difficult language, but I want to fly there and spend a week there as holidays sometime soon. So I want to know some basics, and I'm really a big fan of that. Besides that, just generally, I would say what's really interesting to me right now is communities. So people, how they interact, a lot to do with aesthetics and creative areas as well. Obviously want to get better at business related things generally. So not from a perspective of making money, but more from a perspective of sustainability. So how can I build something that is has its own dynamic and is sustainable? Because I think we need more sustainable systems and organizations. So yeah, there's a lot of things on the list that I'm interested in and learning right now.
Well, so here's a question, because I'm actually in a similar situation where I have a million things I'm interested in, yet I don't have time to get to all of them, and I know I don't. So how do you make sure you're getting the things done that you need to get done?
One exercise that I really liked is writing down all the things that I'm interested in learning, and writing down how much time I would like to dedicate to these kind of things, and then prioritizing and putting like kind of voting that time to the different things. And I realized most of the time what I did was I wrote down like 25 or 30 different things, and only like 4 or 5 of them actually got some time. So, because I think this kind of protects you from, I've said this sentence a lot in my life is, oh, I would love to play piano. I would love to, whatever, speak Chinese, But I think whenever we say that, we're disconnected from the amount of time it would take to learn and all the other things that we could do in that time. So yes, obviously, if it's for free and takes 0 time, then having the ability to learn Chinese is obviously, really a great thing to be able to do, but it's not free and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and
so
poker is a thing like that too. I mean, someone asked me this morning, why do you not play all the mixed games? It's because I don't have time to learn all of the mixed games well, right? I just don't have the time to do it, and I understand that, and I accept that. And I said if I could just pay like $500,000 to download all the information to my brain, I would, but it's not how the world works, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's important to realize what you can do and what you can't do. So next question, what's the biggest thing you struggled with in your career of playing poker? Or was it just all straight up, never had a downswing besides only one, and then you found Elliott Row and life was good?
Yeah, super easy. No. Emotional distress, I would say.
What kind of emotions do you have, or did you have?
Everything. From everything. Like feeling of loneliness. Just sadness, anger. Like there's so many. I feel poker is a game that triggers a lot of emotions because it's constantly pressuring you in one or the other direction. Whether it's in the game when you maybe play for more money than you should, or there's a lot of money on the line and you lose, or you win. There's a lot of emotions involved, and I think struggling in the sense of it's the thing that was the one of the biggest external factors that had an impact on me. It's like the difference between me playing in October 2015 when I was on the longest losing streak of my career after like 10 months of just running really, or just, I don't know, not performing or running bad. And then me in December or January 2016, like 3 months later, with probably almost the same, skill set, I was just like playing 5 times better. And it's all a matter of just mindset and emotions, I think.
And I guess that's why you fell into primed mind, right? I mean, it's something that you think is very beneficial and will benefit the world, not just for poker, but for day-to-day life, right?
I mean, I see it that way. So you have a basis, right? And you should work on that basis. So a lot of people miss to work on the foundation. You have this foundation and you work on it and you learn strategy and you exchange with other players and you question yourself and you reflect and so on. But if you're not able, and however good you are, if you're not able to bring that foundation to the table, then it's not worth anything, right? So I think that conversion is one thing of how strong is your foundation and then how well do you deliver on the table. And I think starting to work on how well do you deliver what you know is as important as strengthening what you actually know. So
I definitely agree. I mean, some people will say that, poker is not necessarily a physical game because it's not like swinging a baseball bat, but at the same time, you have to be able to recall and figure out what to do in these individual spots as they come up. And it's easier said than done, especially whenever if you have all of the pressures of playing for lots of money or, it's hard to do in real time. So outside of poker, what strategies have led to a successful life for you? Like, for example, morning routines, exercises, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what do you do? What does your day look like that makes you the best?
I love the story about the English bicycle team because I think they were shit for like 90 years or something. This guy came in and I forgot his name, but it basically his thing was he was just talking about compound interest all the time, basically. So the only thing he was talking about is, okay, we every day we improve something by 1%. And that's the only thing he focused on. So he was just literally everyone in the whole team, whether it's the bike, the saddle, the way they train, the way you eat, everything. It was just, okay, let's just improve something every day by 1%. And I think a lot of poker players, they do not think that way because they think, okay, what I'm going to do today is kind of try to monetize my knowledge, right? It doesn't necessarily include improvement. So they're just, okay, all right, go play now, and I think about the game another day. So I think what made me different is I was more thinking about, okay, what can I do today that makes me a better player by 1%? And I did that for, probably like 2,000 days in a row.
A lot of days.
And it's a lot of days, but that also was the reason why I was not a great player the first 600 days. Because obviously I wasn't monetizing so much of what I knew, and I wasn't that solid because I was thinking more about, okay, how can I actually become better? And then once it started kicking in, day 1,000, then it started to actually make a big difference because I learned how to constantly improve and others didn't. And that's the moment when I started passing. So that is everything. It's from how I eat, to how I sleep, to how I play, to where I travel, to how I behave when I put in my chips, to how I look at the opponents, to game theory, to analyzing poker tracker, holder manager. Like, it was everything. It was just, okay, how can I go through every single area and improve it day by day.
So, what have you done recently? Like, just give an example or two for everyone here, so they know roughly the things you're talking about.
It's mostly rabbit holes that I end up in. So my favorite example is so we rented a house in Canada in 2015, I think, 14 or 15. And we went there with like 10 of us, and I organized the travel, and it was like on an island without, like it was basically, you had to go there by boat. And we brought our computers there and played from there. And basically every single day, I think we probably dealt with poker like 14 hours a day. Like we're talking about it, we're playing, like it was just pure poker. And what I realized there is this type of intensity, this type of focus, I think that what literally gave us, like we left this island and I felt like we had a 1 year head start of everyone else that we were competing with. And things we did there was, we exchanged everything from our reads that we had on opponents to like the software we were using. And one of the biggest things was every single day we were building like the software, the HUD that we were using online. So like the HUD we were using was so sophisticated for like 4 years ago. Like nobody had anything like that, I think, or no one that I know. And this type of in-depth, really going into the rabbit hole of how can you optimize the HUD? How can you optimize your game selection? We were looking at the time of the day, the time in the year, which day you have the highest win rates over thousands of players, over millions of hands, and we're selecting our play time to maximize our EV. Like this is the type of stuff that we were looking at to optimize basically everything we did in poker.
Yeah, I mean, just like that kind of information alone is highly valuable. I mean, I know whenever I used to play live cash games as a kid, I knew days like Super Bowl were incredibly profitable because everybody's there at the casino gambling. And
yeah.
You see your win rates over, I mean, even then I only had like, 10 samples of major sporting events, but still you see you win like twice as much money. And maybe it's variance, but it's, I mean, not variance once you have, thousands and thousands of data points to go off of. And that's great. All right, so next, how do you manage to balance the grind of the game and living a healthy, fulfilling life? Now, I know you may not be playing as much now as you used to, but in the past when you were playing a lot, would you say you were balanced, or was it very unbalanced where you were just all in on poker all the time?
What I would answer to that is play when you want to play. I think one of the worst things people do in poker is they play when they don't want to play. And I know that people believe that there's certain situations where they have to, where the game is so good, or where they have to hit a certain limit or a certain goal, or like make a certain amount of money. I think it's one of the worst long-term things you can do to play when you don't want to play. So that was really one of my secrets, actually, because I was just, but it's not because I made the decision. It's just more because of the way I am. When I felt like, okay, I don't want to play, I just didn't. There were times like I did every year. I did like a 4 to 6 week travel without playing a hand of poker. So I've been to South America, Asia, Melbourne, like Australia, New Zealand, like where I just didn't play any poker. And that, whenever I came back, I was so excited about actually going back into it and playing. And like I felt my game was making big leaps by that. So basically, in terms of balance, I think it's important to listen to yourself. Like it's important to not try to, okay, I have to play that many hands and that many tournaments and that amount of time. Like listen to yourself and feel like, okay, what is actually healthy? Because your body is telling you, or your mind is also telling you what's healthy for you. And yeah, that's what I would say. Like be conscious with yourself and the answers that your mind and body are giving you.
Do you think that it's possible to figure out a way to increase your volume, right? I mean, I know this is a big struggle for a lot of online players, especially where they feel like they have to put in X amount of tournaments or hands or whatever, especially with a lot of the VIP programs. Like I know Party Poker has their great VIP program now, and you have to play a lot to get it, right? Can Prime Mind help with that kind of thing?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think anything that that deals with focus and like it's a game for the mind. So everything that trains your mind, I think, is valuable. So I think one of the like it goes from I think one of the biggest things is actually food, probably food, water, but also the things you deal with. Like if you eat healthy, probably has one of the biggest impacts on your ability to play good sessions. It will have an impact on anything, how you deal with downswings or emotional impact, how you deal with long sessions, tiredness, like sleep, food, water, and I think when we're talking about balance in life, like obviously also movement is a very relevant thing. Recovery, extremely important. I mean, that includes sleep, but there's basically just think about, okay, how much am I actually thinking about being a good player outside of playing poker?
So what exactly do you mean in terms like what does recovery look like for you? Because I definitely talk about all of the other things you just mentioned a lot to my fans, but I haven't really talked about recovery. So what exactly does recovery look like to you?
So research in recovery mostly shows that it's very individual. So most of the things you can do have a merit, but it depends on how you respond individually. So for me personally, I respond very well to cold water, for example. I think one of the coolest things to do is cold showers. Try it for like 20, 30 days in a row. You get addicted. It's like one of the most energizing. It's like, it has a similar effect to a coffee where it's increasing your blood circulation, your heart rate, but it also has a very calming effect. So do it until you can breathe very comfortably and normally under a shower, and it gives you a really nice start to the day. So in this area, there's everything from cold, so like ice baths and cold showers, to breathing exercises around, because it's basically it's increasing your oxygen levels, and that helps you cleaning your body and blood basically. So Wim Hof is like a good thing to look at there. Generally, at least I would say 7 hours of sleep every night, more like 7.5 to 8. So generally enough time of sleep, I would say. And then there's a lot of things around sleep as well, where it's like quality of air, humidity, darkness, and temperature. And then there's also around just rest. Like I think recovering both physically and mentally through resting and taking time, like not being too rushed. I think meditation is also a great recovery method. So there's a lot of things in that regard, and probably some others that I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I can definitely second the breathing and cold showers. I've been on the Wim Hof method for, gosh, I don't know, 6 or 7 years at this point now, and it's good every day. Wake up, have the cold showers. It gets you going. All right. Are you a naturally aggressive person? And did this immediately?
Who asked that question?
I don't know, but it's an interesting one. But a lot of people ask this type of thing. They think to be good at poker, you have to be a natural like fighter. Like, how do you become fearless? And I don't know. Tell me your thoughts on this idea.
I don't really know what that means, or how that would translate. A naturally aggressive person. I don't think I'm not a. For example, I don't fight. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I don't think I'm an aggressive person. No, I just think I'm competitive. Yeah, but I'm not aggressive.
Right, and I think a lot of people think that to be a good poker player, you almost have to be. I mean, like a bully is not the right word, but you have to be someone who may be a little bit antagonistic, and I definitely do not think that's true. And then how do you become fearless? I mean, I try to not really even equate fear with poker. If a play is good, it's just a good play. And you make the good play because you know it makes you money. And it would be, Like there's no other option, right? I mean, you make the play that makes you the most money.
I think two better words. I think one is confident, and the other one is unbiased. I think that is very important. So I think you have to be, and that I think goes to the next point is I think you have to deal with uncertainty. That I think is one of the most important things, is to be okay with not knowing and to be okay with making decisions where you just don't really know. Like you probably, every one of you has heard people discussing in the most intense way about like two different plays. No, you shouldn't bluff this guy, you're an idiot. It's like, oh, but I saw this and I thought that, it's like definitely a great play. I mean, it's, in a lot of ways, it is very hard because we just do not know, There's so many arguments that you can bring up where you cannot quantify them, you don't know how much they matter, and there's way too much bias in poker. People are way too convinced about the way they play. It's more about being confident in uncertainty and being able to deal with it. And I think that makes you, in the perception, it makes you fearless because there's nothing you have to fear because it's okay that you're uncertain. There's like every 10th situation or whatever, like I haven't seen it before, I haven't been there before. I don't know like how to deal with it, but it's okay because other people, they've been to way less, they have way less experience, and that's totally, has to be totally cool. And I think that's what made me, in that sense, fearless, is because I confronted myself more in that sense. It's like, okay, it is okay to not know, and it is okay to just guess and like try to make as good of guesses as I can.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with all that. That is, a lot of people in life, especially if they have a normal job where they go to work and they get paid, they are used to certainty, and poker is a very, very uncertain game. So it's definitely a tough thing for a lot of people to wrap their mind around. Also, we have a few people asking about getting the bonuses that we are offering. That you can find those if you feel like going now to pokercoaching.com/primedmind. Go there, follow the directions, and that is how you get access to Prime Mind and all of those bonuses. We'll be talking about all of that at the end of this webinar, though. All right, next. How did you become such an awesome tournament player? And next, would you recommend to students, like how would people do what you did?
I think you have to understand where I came from, and I think I came from having not many or not seeing many options. Let's say it like that. So I was studying, and I didn't really enjoy studying. And
studying what?
At university, I studied computer science.
Okay, so going to college or going to university,
yeah,
and not really loving it.
Not loving it. I was okay. What else do I do? And so I think it's more. Sometimes I feel a lot of people, they stumble into things they're good at, or it kind of develops into things, and then afterwards it's easy to say, oh, I planned all this, and like I did this, and then this, and then this, and it kind of lined up, but. No, it was more like, okay, I didn't really know what else to do. And so I kind of enjoy poker, and that's why, I stuck with it. But then it really turned into something that I'm good at. It's not that I was great at from the beginning. I sucked the first year, and then I was, still not good the second year. And then I turned out to be good the third year. But if I would have options, I probably would have, quit earlier. And so I think what I learned through that is sticking with things that you kind of like, that can turn into things that are actually really awesome. If you feel they're good, but, don't be too results oriented. It's like, okay, I'm not making money with it. Like, okay, who cares? Like, if you like it, continue with it. And so I think that was really a big thing for me, is I think I took so much more energy out of my passion than most other people. Like, I loved it. I loved spending most of my time with poker. I loved talking to people about hands. I loved, when I went to bed, I was thinking about hands. I dreamt about them. When I woke up in the morning, I loved to, again, go log on to Skype and answer hand histories and forums and start playing and like review hand histories and, exchange. I loved it. And I think that's what made me a great tournament player is that I loved the whole thing, and I loved it like wholeheartedly. It was from not, just a part of it, or like I just liked the cool side of it. I liked everything about it. And I think that holistic approach is important.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially today, where poker is a bit of a more popular thing, they get into poker because they think it's a way to make a lot of money quickly. And I mean, you can make a lot of money quickly, but it's definitely not a good way to go about making money quickly. And it takes a long time to get good. I mean, people think that you're a young guy, therefore you must have just started recently and you won all the tournaments, right? But that couldn't be farther from the truth. You've been around forever, and you've played more hands than almost everyone. And a lot of people don't realize the work you have to put into it. And if you are only doing it for exactly money, you're not going to love it, right? It's going to be, you're not going to have fun, you're not going to enjoy it, and you're not going to stick with it.
I mean, I find it really interesting to see. I think when I was really good at the game was about 2014. So 2014, 2015, that's, I think, when I relatively was probably one of the best in the world. And then when I look at that, so basically I spent between 2,500 and 3,000 hours on poker a year. And I started in like 2010, 2011. So if you look at it, it took me between 6,000 and 10,000 hours to get good. Right, and it's interesting because I think that's what they say is like 10,000 hours to master something, and I think that's what people have to understand is you have to not only put in the time but also put it in like dedicated and put in lots and lots and lots of hours, and not everyone. That's also a big thing is I think people they mismatch when what you want to achieve and how much you have to put in. Again, I think it goes back to the priorities is if you want to be the best in the world, then you probably have to put in that kind of volume, and you might not even be able to make it, right? But if you want even to have a shot, you have to put in thousands and thousands of hours, and you have no shot of making it in the first 3 or 4 years. But it's also okay to just say, hey, I want to be, just good, or I want to play for fun, or I just want to play with my friends. Like, you don't have to become the best in the world. And I think that's what a lot of people mistake is it's totally fine to just, play 10 hours a week and have fun with it. It's okay to play 1 hour a week if you want to. You're not forced to become a world-class poker player.
Yeah, I mean, poker is a game, and you play games for fun for the most part.
Yeah.
So Alan, a regular here, asks if you still love poker today, or have you become burnt out?
Parts of it, yeah. I think what I realized with poker, I have a passion for solving problems. It's interesting because it's a bit disconnected from poker. So it could be anything, I love also playing strategy games. I love playing strategy computer games. I love going to companies and looking at their problems. I love trading. I love, playing poker. It's not so much that I love poker for the sake of poker, but I love poker for the things that it offers. I love it for the strategy, the strategical, the live aspect of reading people. I love it for the emotions that it, challenges in you. These are the things that there's also other things that I don't love about it. The win-lose situations it causes, that there's not really a net value in a lot of situations. I think also it creates a certain mindset that I'm not a very big fan of. It hinders collaboration in a big way. Like there's a lot of things that I do not like about it. So I don't know. I still have great memories with it, but there's things I like and things I don't like so much.
All right. So when you begin a tournament, we're going to go play poker today. How do you calm yourself down before you go to play? Or are you even worked up to start with?
Not really, no. So it's hard to say for me, but the things that worked the best for me when I played started. I remember getting nervous when I started playing the really big stuff. I think breathing, being hydrated, so drinking, and just taking your time, like sit away, take some deep breaths, go through it, visualize it. It's not that bad. And telling that to yourself, like having some kind of mantra where you just, I'm gonna play my best today, and it's all gonna be okay. That gets me down.
I think a lot of people whoever asked this question almost certainly has not put in a ton of volume, because if you are doing something that's very unfamiliar to you, you are going to be nervous just because it's new to you, right? And also, a lot of people play way out of their bankroll, right? Like, say you have $1,000 to your name and you go play a $300 tournament. Well, you're taking a humongous risk, right? And I mean, I think as you just do something more and more and more often, it becomes just very, very routine and normal for you. Do you generally agree with that?
Yeah, totally.
All right. So how do you prepare, if anything, for tournaments? We discussed this a lot already. Do you do anything in particular to help you stay focused during long hours of play? Like, say you're going to a big tournament series where you know there's going to be a big tournament every day or every other day. Do you do anything special for those times?
How do you prepare, if anything, for tournaments? Yeah, I work with Elliot. I normally wake up quite early, so like 9 or so, not too close to the tournament, to have some time to start the day. Nothing too special.
What do those first 3 hours look like if the tournament starts at noon? What do you do?
A flow, so some type of yoga workout flow, meditation, food, and like some light food, and then mostly just chilling and socializing.
So you basically relax and get in a nice, calmed, happy mood, right?
Basically, yeah.
And I think you're going to find that if you're not anxious or excited or anything like that, you're going to do way better. I mean, a lot of people, I think they essentially think they're supposed to be like really hyped up and excited when they go to play. But I found I would want the opposite. I want to be able just to sit there and think clearly and not have my emotions involved. And I don't know, that's what works for me personally. So if you could go back in time to the first couple of years, what would you have told yourself to do either the same or differently?
I would tell myself to share my emotions more with my friends surrounding me, and also listening more to them, sharing their emotions.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think a lot of poker players are they're guarded, right? I mean, kind of like you mentioned, because at the end of the day, we are friends, but we compete a little bit here and there. And also, I think no one wants to seem vulnerable, but we're all vulnerable, right? We all have insecurities.
Yeah, it's great to be vulnerable. It makes you grow.
Yeah. So were you generally happy with the way that you approached poker as a young poker player, where you just put in lots and lots of time, worked hard, and all of that? Like, would you not change anything about that part of it?
I mean, I personally believe in everything had its place, kind of. I think it made me learn the things that I know today or impacted them, and it would be hard for me to change something now because it would change everything else. I just feel like things were the way they are, and I feel good now. So, yeah.
It's tough because I know you certainly don't always feel good while you are doing it, but I think, I mean, well, like you said, everything has worked out pretty well. So when you study poker, what does it look like to you? Like, what does poker study entail to you? Or, maybe a better question is what should it entail to the people here today who are not necessarily great players yet, but they want to be great players? What should they be doing?
Talk to people. My best way of learning was always yeah, kind of filtering and exchanging with other great minds, or like, people that are inspiring to you. And that was always my best process.
And so you're essentially just trying to figure out what they do that works well, what they do that does not work well, and then implement that to your game.
I mean, I think if you have 10 people and you talk to every one of them an hour a week and you ask them, what were the things that you learned this week that were the most valuable, and you dig down in these in this 1 hour, I think you have a tremendous amount of knowledge at your hands.
And part of this is generally being friendly and kind and nice, right? I mean, I think a lot of poker players get in their minds that they're only out for themselves and they like no one's going to help them out. But at the same time, pretty much every very good high stakes player has a group of peers and friends who they talk about poker with, right?
Yeah, basically.
And
I'm more for that.
Yeah, so it's not a game for loners, right? I mean, you definitely need to collaborate, and if you are not someone people want to collaborate with, well, you are going to be on your own, and if you're on your own, you're going to have a very difficult time getting to the top.
Yep.
So what advice do you have on overcoming the feeling of disappointment after losing a tournament that maybe you were doing really well in, playing really well in, etc.? Let's just say you're playing, you think things are going well, then you lose. And does it depend on the way that you lose?
I have one thing there. So it's called injecting logic. I don't know who came up with this thing, but I'm glad I read it. So basically, I think the most important thing is when we lose is to tell us why it's okay that we lost, right? So for me, it was always, okay, it's totally fine that I just lost because it's important that I lose. If I would be a better player and I would always win against that person, there would be no money in poker for me to win, right? Because then that person wouldn't want to continue playing. So it would be similar to chess, where if you're, like better than the other person, you almost always win. And so there's almost no money in chess. But in poker, it's great that you're sometimes losing, because then people overestimate themselves, and like it creates this dynamic of a lot of money being in poker. So I think you have to find your own logic, why it's totally fine and totally logical to lose. And then I think you can find peace with it.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people, they think they're supposed to win. And, everyone knows when you sign up for a poker tournament, you're probably going to lose, right? And when you do lose, why should that bother you? I mean, obviously, you want to always try to improve, and you want to make sure you're doing the absolute best you can, but you're probably going to lose. And, I don't know, do you view that as almost like a defeatist mindset or something like that, where that will make you play worse, like that knowledge, or that's just rational thought? Like, how do you view that?
It gives me calmness. I think it's important because it grounds me. Right? Like, because if I don't feel that way, then what am I thinking? It's like mostly I'm thinking, I deserve to win, or, it creates a lot of energy that I don't think that shouldn't have a place. I think there shouldn't be anger, there shouldn't be jealousy, like all these things. It comes out of this thought. So I think it's great to let it go and, and get balanced and grounded and focus on your own.
Very good. So that's the end of the questions I have prepared. I see a lot of people have some questions typed in, and we have a little bit more time. We'll go for another 14 minutes or so. We do have a very special offer for all of you, though. Prime Mind, which is Fedor's app. I use it very regularly, and I think it's a great thing. Normally, it's $120 a year, but for a short period of time, you can get it for only $29.99. Go to pokercoaching.com/primedmind. We're also giving away lots and lots of bonuses, including content that I've made kind of like this with a lot of other great poker players. Also, Elliot Rowe, who makes many of the recordings on Prime Mind, so go check that out. So, do you have any books that you would recommend, either poker or non-poker? Maybe one or two of each, or just non-poker, whatever you want people to know about that you found beneficial.
I've actually read a half poker book in my life. So I feel in poker books are just too slow most of the time, unless it's about more general topics. But if it's about, being really on top of the game, I think it just takes too long to write it and print it and get it and read it, and then it's 1.5 years have passed. But I'm a big fan of general books that describe phenomena that are just very relevant, such as anything that has to do with psychology. So Outliers, I think, is a great book. A really great book for poker players, I think, is, or generally a good author is Nicholas Taleb is his name. Mm-hmm. He writes about uncertainty, so skin in the game, but also Black Swan. It's a great book, I think. And for poker, I learned a lot from these books. There's also a good book called Mastery from Green, and there is Focus, it's called. So there's a couple books that are more general, but they really help me getting better at things in poker. So these are a couple books that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's important to learn how to think well, especially dealing with things pertaining to uncertainty, and that's what poker is. How important is it to have a commanding big stack? Like, are we willing to sacrifice perhaps equity or be willing to go broke early in exchange for having a reasonable shot to get a big stack that we can then use in the future? Or are we just concerned with making the most plus EV play in each spot?
If you're really thinking about plus EV, then that includes how important it is to get a big stack. So I think the question itself should never be, should you have a big stack or not? I think generally having a big stack is more something that develops rather than something that you go after. So I think actually a lot of tournament players, they highly overrate how important it is to have a big stack, and they go bust way too often, like trying to, build a big stack. The real value actually happens when you're short stacked and when you have smaller stacks. It's like managing, still making good decisions depending on your stack size, and like most of the time you should be having, an average stack or like small stack or whatever, and like playing that properly, that's where really the money's at.
Yeah, so many people just like give up whenever they get down to a shallow stack. But in reality, if everyone else is playing 100 big blind poker and you're playing 15 big blind poker, you're just going to crush them because they have to play different ranges to some extent. And there's a lot of value in that.
It's especially interesting when you think about, like, let's say you have a huge stack, and then someone who has a tenth of your stack might have a stack that is worth a third of what yours is worth. So that's always interesting for me to think about is, yes, I have, 10 times more chips or whatever, but it's not 10 times worth more. It's more like 3 times worth more or 2 times worth more, whatever. So that is really important, I think, to keep in mind, is that just having a big stack is mostly just ego or any kind of, bullying other people or having, taking a great picture, but not so much actually trying to make the most out of the opportunity.
So how can someone who has an ego issue where they want to be the big stack and they want to be the table captain and they want to win a tournament to take a picture, how can people make that not such a big priority in their head? Because I kind of fear that I only do not have these issues because I've already had success, right? And I'm not I can't remember how I was thinking before I had won anything. And I don't know, how do you feel about this?
I think you should ask yourself, the underlying question is like, why do you need it? Why do you need the stack to feel good? Why do you need to bully other people to feel good, right? Like, it always starts with something, I think, that is in yourself. Is maybe you're not so happy with yourself, or maybe, other things haven't been going so great, or you're, I think there's always something underlying that is the reason for it.
All right. What?
Jonathan, I quickly go to the restroom. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can answer some of these questions as they have come in. Can I repeat those book titles? He said books by Nicholas Taleb. I think it's Taleb. Black Swan is one of those he mentioned there. He also mentioned a book called Mastery. So check out those. If I'm missing any of those, type them in the chat and I will repeat them as well. Let's see. Will Prime Mind be narrated by other people besides, I guess, Elliot Rowe? I do not know. But I do definitely suggest you check out Prime Mind and get in on that. While Fedor's gone, let me show you what I have lined up for all of you. In the past, I did webinars with all of these people, just like this one with Fedor. They're about an hour long. We have 14 of these. If you go and sign up for Primed Mind today, you can get these 14 webinars for free when you purchase Prime Mind for 75% off. This is the page you will go to when you go to pokercoaching.com/primedmind. So you get these 14 webinars. They're between an hour and 2 hours long each. Here's a brief description of all of them. It's going to be a lot of content. Don't feel like you have to go through all of it, but definitely go through the ones that you enjoy, and that is going to be highly valuable, and you'll get all of this and a year of Prime Mind for $29.99. It's basically free. Are you back, Fedor?
Yes.
All right, good. What should someone do if they are playing with you that will give you a lot of trouble?
Who's listening?
No one. Only me. Only me. Don't worry.
Only you. Okay.
Yeah.
I think people that generally play. So I actually had a situation recently where I think people that play very sound, like game theoretically sound. So I think you would have to be a good game theoretical player, first of all. And then one thing that I actually struggle a bit with is players that are, how do I say that? So players that I don't think that are that great, but that behave like they're the, whatever, best in the world. And when they then win against me and, behave, take that as a confirmation that they're better than me, that gets me going.
Why does that get you going?
Because I think it's a thing that comes from my childhood or my past is this feeling. It makes me feel worthless or unappreciated, and I don't know. That's a thing that feels like that hits me pretty hard. So whenever someone has this approach towards me, is like, I'm way better than you. I don't appreciate you, or that makes me emotional, and that's something that I've been working on a lot.
Well, good. If we only had $3,000 to start with, let's pretend like you are a young person. Maybe you're going to university, maybe not. What would we do? What would you suggest someone do if they essentially have not a lot of options, or maybe they have relatively few options? What would you suggest someone starts doing immediately to have a great chance for success at poker?
Depends how good you are, obviously.
Let's presume they really have not played a lot.
Okay.
Just like a relatively new person coming into poker. Well, I guess another question to go along with this is, do you think anyone can become at least reasonable at poker to where they're winning, I don't know, like $50 an hour or something like that?
Oh, of course. 100%. I think there's a very different approach whether you're already really good and you want to work your way up, or you want to learn and have $3,000. I think if you want to learn, then I think it doesn't really matter how much money you have. You should start low. So I would kind of work my way to the spot where you feel like you're break even-ish. So, if you're really bad, that might be probably start online because you want the sample size. So when you want to learn poker, the best way to learn is online. That's what I think. So just because you play more hands, then you get a more clear feedback. So basically, go to the level where you're like slightly winning or slightly losing, kind of, and figure that out. So that might be whatever, 10 cents, 25 cents, or 25 cents, 50 cents, and or 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever. And then constantly look for ways to get a good feedback loop going. So have other people evaluate your play, share hand histories, exchange with other people, so that you see that trajectory of, okay, how do you get better? Like build a circle of people, ask for feedback, like constantly challenge yourself, and then basically try to move up in a limit where you get feedback of what you learned, right? So if you get better, then you might beat that limit. If you don't get better, then you don't. And so you have that feedback loop of like, okay, you move up and you try to get better and higher. And then I would say mix in the occasional live play. So what I did in the beginning was I played whatever, like 5 days a week online, and then, or 5-to-2 ratio. 2 days a week I played live, and then through that, when there was enough opportunities live and I was good enough, I could just switch to 6 days a week live and 1 day a week online, basically. So that was my approach. That's how I would go about it.
Imagine someone is, let's say in America, I get this question a lot, where essentially they don't have access to good online games. Would you suggest they still just play online to get experience as opposed to start playing live poker?
I mean, I think America is probably even better to learn. Like, because you can, I think, I haven't played it much, but I think you can make more money playing in America. At least to a certain degree. Like, I don't know how high it runs, but it runs probably at least until like 2.5 or 2.55. And I think working up your way to that point probably works everywhere in the world. So if you're beating 1-2, 2.5 online, I think you're ready to, play and crush live.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. I mean, online is so much more difficult, and I always tell everyone to play online as much as you can, because that's going to make you play decently well if you're going to be winning at any sort of reasonable stake online. And once you can beat that, live poker will be very, very, very easy. All right, Fedor, I know your time is up. Do you have anything else you want to say about Prime Mind or anything else at all?
No, just glad I could answer some questions. It actually went by really fast. But yeah, I would be really happy if I have one thing. Yeah. So if there's any one of you who profits from Prime Mind or has any cool stories about how it helped you or what your experience is, even if it's a negative one as well, like so that we can constantly improve what we're doing and offering, and like even if you have new ideas of what you would like to see and what would help you, like that would be awesome if you reach out to us so that we can improve the product.
We had one recommendation already. Short 5-minute Prime Mind sessions on specific things that people can work on, like folding more whenever you're pretty sure you're beat. Like say someone they never fold top pair top kicker on the river, right? And they know they never fold top pair top kicker on the river, and they want to, but they have a mental problem with it, right?
I like that.
I think it's a solid idea. I mean, I know that I used to have mindset issues before I started working with Elliot, and a lot of Elliot's work ended up becoming Primed Mind, and it's been really beneficial for me. So definitely check that out. And Fedor, thank you very much for being here. We had lots and lots of people attending, and I'm excited to help people better their lives using Prime Mind. So thanks for helping us with all of that.
Thanks for having me.
All right, great. Thank you, and I will see you when I see you.
Yeah, see you.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So that was Fedor. Thank you very much for Fedor for being here. I'm briefly going to tell you about this offer that we have. So what we are doing, for 1 year, you can get Primed Mind and the recordings of all of these webinars I have made, including, here's Elliot Rowe right here on discussing goal setting, which is, again, one of the issues a lot of online players have where they have a difficult time putting in volume. And this is a lot. So you get all 14 of these webinars. and a year of Prime Mind for only $29. A few people in the chat are saying that how can it only be $29 for all this? Well, that's what we're doing because I know that Prime Mind has significantly bettered my life, and I want to get that into your hands. So, as you see, you're going to get access to these 14 webinars as well. Here's one by me on when to value bet. Also, a few other great ones here. Deep Stack Tournament Strategies by Matt Affleck. He's one of my coaches over at pokercoaching.com. I've learned a ton from him, and I'm sure you can as well. We also have Top Live Tells. Prime Mind has actually helped me focus more at the table. And once you learn how to focus more, well, you get to pick up more reads. You get to learn more things about your opponents. And, if you don't know what to look for, you're going to have a hard time finding them. And this webinar here by Zach Elwood will definitely help you with that. We have another webinar by a poker coaching coach, Alex Fitzgerald. Again, the list goes on and on and on. Here's the one by Elliot Rowe. So anyway, lots and lots and lots and lots of content for all of you that is included completely for free whenever you go to pokercoaching.com/primedmind. You get all of these webinars and you get a year for Prime Mind. Total value is normally $525, but you'll get it for only $29.99. So again, go to pokercoaching.com/primedmind to get that. Will the 14 videos be made available in your poker coaching account? Yes, that is where they will be as far as I know. And if you all have any questions, let me know. I know some of you have already stated that you already are a member of Prime Mind and you'd like to get access to all 14 of these videos. And send us an email about that and we will make that happen. Roberto says this is a great deal. It's a no-brainer. Well, that's what we're going for, right? I'm trying to help all of you better your lives, and Prime Mind is a great additional way to do that. We're told the link is now functioning properly, so good. Thank you all very much. Thanks to my support team for taking care of that. So good. Go to pokercoaching.com/primemind. There's instructions actually at the bottom for what you need to do. How to get the 14 webinars for free. I'm not going to read through all these. You can do this yourself. But follow the link, follow the instructions, follow the links, do exactly what we say here, and we will get those to you. If for any reason it does not make it to you very quickly, send us an email, support@pokercoaching.com, and we will let you know. Here's the deal again. Normally, by the way, Prime Mind is $119 per year, which, to be fair, is already a steal. But, $29.99 for a year it's about as free as it can be. All right. So that's going to be it for today. Thanks to everyone for being here. Thanks to Fedor for being here and answering all of your questions. We definitely appreciate that. His time is more valuable than all of ours put together. So thanks to Fedor for that. I appreciate it. If you have any questions about this sale, please let me know. You can send an email to support@pokercoaching.com. And again, to get access to this, go to pokercoaching.com/primedmind. So that's going to be it for today. Thank you all very much. Good luck in your games. Have fun. Be nice to someone. And I'll talk to you later.